Welcome back. Today I bring you another Instagram stories that I created into a video. I actually took a poll last Thursday when I shared on Instagram stories if you would be interested in me saving the footage to share here on YouTube because my message was so powerful. And as a reminder, when I share a powerful message on Instagram stories, I save it in that day's highlight for 7 days. So last Thursday's message most likely has been cleared out. It typically depends on if I have new content on that particular day to put in it. You can always go there and check, but when I took the poll, I believe over 80% of those that took advantage of the poll shared that they would want me to save this in an Instagram story because of how powerful it was. Check out Tuesday's video 3 days ago. That was also a really powerful message that I shared on Instagram stories about playing small, staying safe. Why bother? I'm not even any good at this, right? And how it can hold us back in areas of our life. This is both professionally and personally, and achieving success because of fear of what other people think. So definitely, please, strongly encourage you to check out Tuesday's video. Also, last week on YouTube, I shared a video covering the topic of working in an environment with people that, or other women that show up in a nasty way or maybe target you because you're a happy person and you show up in a good disposition and people like you. Not only do your coworkers like you, but if you have clients or customers, they're drawn to you as well, which would make complete sense because we often are more drawn to happier people. If someone shows up negative and catabolic, we're just not really interested in being around them. So check out Friday's video as well. So without further ado, let's take a look at the powerful message that I shared last week on Instagram stories. Morning. Finishing last cup of coffee. That was some egg white residue from my breakfast. I trust you don't care. Haven't brushed my teeth yet, but we don't have smell-o-vision or whatever. I don't brush my teeth until after I've had my coffee. I'm going to do a little sharing. I have a few minutes before I start my stretch and posture routine, and then jump into a hefty coaching day. I'm sharing because I know some of you are going to be able to relate to what I share. You may have struggle, but tell yourself you're not struggling. That's been really powerful for me lately, is I've do I want to say come to terms with that there's some struggle in my life. And it's not it's not letting up. This started about mid-December. I recently had a video about a month ago maybe that I think it was a wine video where we did some wine and chit chat. I remember, I believe it was 2 weeks, I don't know, it was in January when I filmed that and kind of shared that, I'm struggling. I'm on the struggle train. I've had to force myself to come to terms with this struggle is present in my life, and I'm not seeing any changes anytime soon because we only have us. And in tomorrow's video will be very powerful because I address a question that came through. In fact, maybe when I'm done speaking here, I will put it in here. I received a direct message a few weeks ago And I thought this is a good one to do a video because it really does have to do with, we have to accept that we really only have power over managing ourselves. Now, I say managing, not control, because again, I talk all the time about we only have effort. We don't have outcome. And that's a great place to be when you really understand that, and always being reminded of the enemy is at work. The enemy is at work, and the enemy knows where your triggers are, where your buttons get pushed, where your pains are from the past. The enemy is really aware of that, but so is God. And you really have to force yourself to lean on God, and I am so thankful that I do. And one of the most recent best decisions I made was to create another document to my already 5 daily documents, and created a 6th one. And I could have put this well, it's in all documents. It's right at the top of all my documents. Tracy, the enemy is at work. The enemy is at work. And that was a recent addition to my documents. And while I've always known that, I mean, I know that, right? I know that. I haven't always had that in my forefront as a reminder within the first 30 minutes of my day. So every day, within the first 30 minutes of my day, when I do my personal work, my self-reflection, my check-in, taking stock of Tracy, I see that. Tracy, the enemy is at work. And again, the enemy knows where your weaknesses lie. And that's where the enemy wants to pounce. And the enemy has been pouncing hard on me. And I know why. Because I am a great target. Because I have faith. I lean on God, which just makes me so much more a target for the devil, for the enemy to be at work in my life. New look. And that's because the last clip didn't upload. Again, the enemy is at work. We're always being tested. So I just said, take a deep breath, Trace. Pause. The enemy is at work. That may be a struggle, but you're not struggling. So then I decided to take my hair stuff out from my workout today. Yeah, the struggle will be there, and that's because we are targets to be tested. But you don't have to be struggling. The other reminder is we only have the management and effort of us. And if your struggle, and most often it's coming from something outside of you, but not always. Sometimes we bring on our own struggles. So my encouragement to you today, for you today, is to say, if I have a struggle present in my life, am I bringing on that struggle? Is it self-inflicted? Is it just a matter of I need to choose differently? Well, that's a little different, right? Because that's all in your power. So why are you giving in to the enemy? That's actually quite an easy correction, because that just goes back to you stepping into your power, you choosing your heart, you making the changes in your life that you need to make. It requires some awareness. Take time to sit back and have a discussion with yourself. Create a personal document where you can check in, because that taking stock of yourself, taking ownership of you in your forefront every single day, every single morning upon awakening, or whenever you choose to do your daily self-reflection, it'll look you right in the face and let you know if it's the choices you're making. But when the struggle is coming from an outside force, maybe it's a person, like what I'll be talking about in tomorrow's YouTube video, you have to be reminded of, I can only manage me. I cannot manage other people. So giving that person my power is a choice I'm making. Identify why the outside force or person is triggering a response from you, because that may help you identify where your weaknesses lie, or maybe something is showing up in your life that maybe you feel I've enabled, I've allowed. And while that may have served me at one time in my life, that no longer serves me today. So you want to peel back the whys behind the struggle. Once you know what's really going on with you and why this is a struggle, even though you're not struggling as a person, right? This is a struggle. Once you know why, that's when you get to say, okay, since I can only manage me, what am I going to do to protect my peace, to protect my well-being in this outside force or outside person? And I talk about it in tomorrow's video, so be sure to be watching for that. But having that daily check-in of being reminded that the enemy is always at work, it kind of gives you a little, it helps you to prepare. It helps you to prepare that the enemy is at work, and today there will be tests, and those tests will be in my weak areas. It's what I'm going to do with them. Am I going to allow those tests, those struggles, those outside force of the devil being at work in my life? Am I going to let that defeat me? And am I going to allow that to discourage me or to pull me away from what it is that I'm working on, what my goals are, what living an optimal, happy, abundant life looks like for me? Well, if you say yes to that, you are allowing the devil in. You are allowing the enemy in to take over, and you can say no to that. You have all the power in the world. Lean into the Lord or whatever higher power you need to lean into. I'm sharing this because I am so thankful for that daily reminder that I will be tested. The struggle will show up today as it's showing up every single day, and it's because I'm a great target, which tells you something about me, which tells you the grip and power that I have on the enemy. Yeah! Not today. Not today. You can show up, and I know you will. I know you will. But you can't have me. You can't have me. Because I'm taken. I'm taken. Yeah. Yeah. If this speaks to you, and you want to get to a place like what I just shared, which is I'm not struggling. I'm not struggling. The other thing that I have to answer to every single day was I happy with how I showed up in my life yesterday? Yes. Was I happy with how I showed up in the lives of others yesterday? Yes. Why is that? Because although every single day I'm facing the truth and the fact that the enemy is at work, I'm also reminded that God is not finished with me. No. God is not finished with me, and I'm reminded that every single day in my daily documents when I have to check in with myself to see if I leaned into Him and if I am happy with how I showed up with myself, how I showed up in the lives of others, and how I contributed and showed up to this world. And every day, day after day, I say yes, amen. And it's because I have this check-in. If you didn't take the Live a Mastery Life workshop where you create your self check-in, personal daily documents, so that you can step into your power, so you can overcome, you can adapt, you can be resilient, you can adjust course to the enemy, and lean into whatever you need to lean into, whatever that looks like for you. I encourage you to take advantage of the workshop replay. It's available. It's yours today. Of all the workshops I've facilitated, and it's hard for me to have memory on this, I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me since that workshop through email, direct message, text message if they're a client, saying how powerful and impactful that workshop was for them, creating their personal daily documents. Because we all need something to center and ground us, because we will be tested. The enemy is at work. But so many people are on autopilot that they just allow the enemy to run their life, to dictate their choices, to wreck their life, to keep you from showing up with your gifts, leaving you feeling stuck because you're allowing the enemy in to do the work. But God's not finished with you. It's a beautiful place to be. It's a beautiful place to be. I'm reminded of it daily. Imagine that. It's because I have it on my daily document. Be a better master of you, Tracy. And while I have struggle all day, every day, it is so present in my life. Again, I remind myself I am such a big, juicy target. Bring it on. No one better to be tested than me, because I'm a warrior, and God is not finished with me. Not on my time, not on my day, not on my life. I have too much to give to myself and others to allow the enemy in. I'll share an example to help you, a story and an example. And I want to be careful how much I share. I don't know who's all watching, and it's never my intent to insult or offend anyone who I know personally. And again, I don't know who's all watching me under their own name, under an anonymous name, or whatever. But I have a personal story, and this will give you an example of allowing the devil to step in or taking the higher road. I recently had a person say something totally uncalled for. Just a class act person would never do this, but this person isn't a class act in my mind, so it all makes sense, right? When we believe people when they show us who they are, it all makes sense. So the person appears, which I expected, and the first words out of their mouth are not, "Hi, how are you?" No, of course not. The first words out of this person's mouth is something insulting about something of mine. Something of mine. So, no hi, no hello, just I'm going to say something insulting to basically mock something of yours. No real surprise. No real surprise. Again, we believe people when they show us who they are. And often comments like that are coming from their own past wounds. In this case, I totally see it that way because I know this person's past wounds and scars, and they've never done the work to heal like some of us have worked on our own healing. The best way to put it is, and some of you may know a person like this. This person loves to bring awareness to your flaws. The flaws they see. You don't see them, but the flaws that they see. So mocking you for something is usually on their agenda. And believe me, there's a reason. It has nothing to do with you. That's a whole nother story for another day. So guess what? I hear this negative comment about something of mine. Guess who emerged? Any guesses? Any wild guesses who emerged in that moment of hearing that? No hi, hello, how are you? The enemy emerged. The enemy boasted immediately as usual. The test. Here comes the enemy. And with the enemy boasting his weak, hairy, pimpled chest came my comeback, my reply. And it was a good one. It was a good one. It would have certainly put this person in their place. Oh, are we still belittling me? Are we still talking to me in a condescending way? That's what came up in my head was, still belittling me, huh? Still talking to me like I'm a child in a condescending way? Well, I'm not a child anymore. That's what the enemy
with his weak, pimpled, hairy chest, wanted me to say. But I remembered, Tracy, tomorrow, your daily document will be staring you in the face, reminding you the enemy is at work. And also on your document, all criticism is the tragic result of unmet needs. Not your needs, Tracy, their needs. All criticism is the tragic result of unmet needs. Also, on your daily document, regardless of what anyone says or does, you have the power to choose. You can dim a room or you can light a room. So the enemy wanted me to fall prey to dim the room along with this person who was already dimming the room. The enemy would have won. No, I'm bigger, I'm better, and I'm more worthy than that. I am good. I have God. My job is obedience. God's job is outcome. So what do you think I did? What path do you think I chose in that moment? You know what I chose. You know what I chose. Leave people better than you found them. Leave people better than you found them. So I know what's behind the comment that was made, that was intentionally to insult. Because there's a lot of hurt and pain. I know that. I've witnessed it my whole life. It took me till I was older to figure out, wow, we all have wounds. I have them too. Some choose to do the work, others don't. But how can I leave this hurt, wounded person better than I found them today? And that's exactly what I chose to do. And so the next day when I stared at my daily documents and I did my taking stock of Tracy, and on my daily document, was I happy with how I showed up in the lives of others yesterday, regardless? That's the big part. Regardless of how they showed up in my life. And that doesn't mean that we tolerate. That doesn't mean that we don't set boundaries with people. And you get to determine what those boundaries are. I talk more in tomorrow's YouTube video. And I answered, yeah. I was absolutely happy with how I showed up in the lives of others yesterday. Whether I see it deserving or not, that's not my role. Again, my job is obedience. God's job is outcome. So you may struggle, but you don't need to be struggling. That choice will be yours. Today's personal story and powerful message will be saved in the Thursday highlight bubble for 7 days. In 7 days, 1 week from today, I will swipe this story, this message clean. If you'd like me to share this in a YouTube video, I can save the footage. There's a lot of work that goes into that, but I am happy to do it if it's worthy for you to have a place to resource back to it when you need to be reminded. So I'll take a poll. Let me know if you'd like me to save this footage, upload it, send it off to my editor, and have her put it in a YouTube video. And if that's the case, probably next week or the following week, it will be there. So it'd be on Instagram for 7 days, and after that, it would be in a YouTube video. So I will let you let me know. Don't forget, Friday newsletter tomorrow. 5 things that moved me this week. Yes, moved me. What moved you this week? Take note. What moved you? It's a great practice. I love it. Love implementing that. If you're not subscribed, tap the link, get subscribed. You'll get tomorrow's newsletter. Half an apple, a little bit of warmed up and creamed up and melted up almond butter, 1 tablespoon. So half of a Honeycrisp apple, 1 tablespoon almond butter, and some cinnamon on top. Loving this. Loving my food right now. Loving my diet plan right now. Not loving that all my clothes are tight. Considering I'm not taking any celebratory meals, but yet clothes are tighter. Go figure. But I'm loving the muscle gains. And that's what I'm working on right now. And I have my reasons. So yes, enjoying some fruit in my diet. And yeah, things are getting a little tighter. It's okay. It's okay. Probably about, probably 2 more weeks on this plan. And then I will write myself a new diet plan and work towards what I'm working towards. And we'll start leaning down a little bit, hopefully.
Thanks for watching. Weigh in and let me know what you thought of today's powerful message. If you were one of the people that took the poll, I thank you for participating. A couple of last minute housekeeping notes. 3-week intense for Q2 is approaching very fast. We begin Monday, April 8th, and I would love for you to join me on that extra mile. The information email with all of the material, the link to the exclusive web page, and the invitation to the Facebook group community page, that all goes out in an email the last Wednesday of the month to help you plan and prepare for 3-week intense for the second round of 2024 Q2. Love to have you. There will be a link in the description box below to learn more if you're new to 3-week intense and get registered. Be sure to check out the testimonials. It's very powerful what other women have shared about this amazing program. Also, the goals workshop that I facilitated for Q1, the New Year's goals, that workshop expires Friday, April 5th, so I'm offering a discount today so that you can take advantage of that workshop and watch it before it expires on April 5th. With the workshop, you will get a personal invitation to join me on Saturday, April 6th for a Let's Talk All Things Goals. Bring your questions so that I can help you. The only way to access that private follow-up Q&A is if you take the goals workshop. And again, it expires on April 5th, and then we would meet the next day, April 6th, for the Q&A. So all things goals coming to you Saturday, April 6th. Link will be in the description box below. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to be watching me on Instagram stories where I share these powerful messages and save them for 7 days. Also, make sure you're registered for my newsletter that goes out 2 to 3 days per week, and there's a lot of great nuggets in there, a lot of personal stuff going on in my life. You don't want to miss that. All right, have a great weekend.